He has been on the ground. He has been in Anglophone Cameroon. He has been in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, and he has witnessed the new and deepening twist of the socio-political unrest hitting the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon for more than a year today. His Eminence Christian Cardinal Tumi, Archbishop Emeritus of the Douala Metropolitan Archdiocese of the Roman Catholic Church, is a guest in this edition of the program. His Eminence, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Now, you just returned from the northwest and of course the southwest regions of Cameroon. What did you observe? What did you see?
Well, every year, since I became a bishop in 1980, I go to my village on holidays for at least 2 weeks. My village is Kikaikalaki in Kumbo. And it happens at this time I spent more than 2 weeks in the village and observed and listened to people talking about the present political situation in the English-speaking part of our country. It happened incidentally because I didn't go there to observe what was happening. It was incidental that it coincided, the presence of the army coincided with my presence in that part of the country. And in Mbim, that's a village about 40 minutes drive from my village, which had been visited by the army the day before I went there. I was there on the 28th, and I think the army was there on the 27th. And I saw and listened to people in their depression, I would say. It was as if the whole village of Mbim was mourning for somebody who had died, but nobody had been killed there, to be frank with you. But I saw houses that were reduced to ruin, to dust and ashes. I saw the house of a man who had run away with his wife and 6 children. Their house had been reduced to dust and ashes. I saw the material of a building water project in Mbim. The pipes had been all broken. I saw chairs of a cooperative union which had all been broken down. I saw the house of an old man, ramshackled, and I was told that the army had made away with 2 generators of the family. I saw a man looking completely depressed, from whom the army had made away with 800,000 CFA francs. I saw a bar of a young man running a small business from where hundreds of bottles of beer had been taken away by the army. And what could not be taken away was broken to bits and pieces. I saw windows of houses broken. And I was struck by an old man, by the question an old man asked me. Cardinal, what wrong have we committed that the army should be sent to treat us this way, as if we were, foreigners who had come to ransack the village. I saw crops, corn, beans, coffee, reduced to dust and ashes. The year's harvest gone. And I asked the people, what did the army say you had committed as a fault? What was your fault?
And during your stay in the northwest region, is Cardinal, did you observe that gunshots and gun battles become nearly a daily issue?
To be frank with you, I observed none of those. I saw nothing. In this village, the people told me that the army said they were looking for guns, but they found no gun. This was simple, innocent people. And what was the reason for the presence of the army in Beam? I am told that a soldier had been gunned down by a young man in Yonkui. Yonkui is a village far away from Beam. So the people could not understand why the army came to attack them in Beam. So my conclusion is, I ask myself, brother, if they find a criminal in a village, does everybody in the village become a criminal? That's the question I ask myself.
No, you were equally in the southwest region of the country.
When I was coming back, I spent a night in Mamfe, and I saw the Bishop of Mamfe and Ronkea, who had visited some villages that were reduced to dust and ashes, and an old woman who could not save herself was burnt alive in a village. The people would like to go back, but to where? To where? They have no houses. The bishop said, when they met the bishop, the Jew island met the traditional rulers who also met the bishop. And the bishop said he was ready to look for buses to carry the people back to the village, but to where in the village? You can't go and leave them in the open air. He couldn't leave them in the open air. So the bishop said he could not commit himself to that type of operation. So I think that the army is making many enemies.
I was going to ask you, His Eminence, from your observation, who is doing what on the ground between the secessionists, who have been referred to as terrorists today, elements of the National Armed Forces, and the masses?
What I saw now, the destruction was done by the army, by the military. For example, there were no secessionists there. No. It is the army that is doing the havoc. We condemn deaths, whether of a military man or of a... That should be condemned. But if the army goes into a village, what is the purpose of its presence there? Is it just to ransack everyone? To kill whoever they saw? I'm just asking. If a military life, every life is sacred. That of the life of a civilian is sacred. The life of a military is sacred. But I do not think that it is mission of the army to do away with the property of the civilians. I don't think so. Army that's doing away with the property of the civilians.
The army that is supposed to be protecting the people and the properties.
Well, if they are looking for a criminal, let them look for the criminal with all patience. They should not draw the conclusion that since the criminal was from this village, everybody in the village is a criminal. It's not a logical conclusion. I don't think so.
And from what you're saying, from all indications, many are paying the price for a crime they have never committed.
Exact. That is why this old man asked me the question, what have we done that the government should send a whole army to come and destroy our village? You know, to see it. The village is now empty. People are away from the village. They don't know. But like this man with his wife and 6 children, nobody knows where they are. I visited the house, burnt it down. Not that I go by hearsay. What I go by hearsay is what the Bishop of Manfred told me. I spent some time, a whole day with him, and he showed me the pictures. He's now to make pictures with the telephone and all that. He has all that, ready to make a report.
Showed you pictures of villages like Kwakwa and the others?
Kwakwa, yes, I heard about that name, but I don't know the place, but I hear also that atrocities were committed there, as in Tadu. And as I said, the killing of a military man did not take place in Tadu, as some say. Nor did it take place in Bim. It took place in Yunkui, and Yunkui is kilometers away from these 2 places.
And the response of the military came upon people far away from the place where...
Kilometers away. Not that I hear say I went there. Yunkui is far away from Bim. It's far away from Tadu. I passed through those villages.
Maybe they got information that those who committed the atrocity or those who killed the element of the National Armed Forces had escaped to the neighboring villages that came under the repression of the Defense and Security Forces.
Accepted that they escaped. Let them look for them. I am not supporting crime, no. Let them look for the criminal and let the criminals be punished according to our laws. They could run to anywhere. Let the army have the patience not to decide to ransack people's homes and do away with their property. Where do they take the property to?
Now, what is the state of the villages that you visited in the northwest region today?
No, I only, in Kumbu area, there, the villages I visited, those who were attacked by the army, well, the people are miserable. Miserable, like I say, all that was harvested is reduced. Petrol was thrown on them and set on fire. Yeah. Not that I heard, I saw. And by the way, before I arrived, there are some sisters also who are in charitable activity who are already there to see how they could help the people.
And many inhabitants of those villages have fled to unknown places.
To unknown areas. To unknown areas. For example, in Manfred, the Bishop told me the dear and the traditional rulers had tried to bring the people back to the villages. And that the district officer had advised the traditional chiefs to see the bishop, because he has a good knowledge of what is happening, where the people are. And the bishop told me, no, he was ready even to get, buses to bring the people back to this particular village in his diocese. I've forgotten the name. And but his question was, where would he bring them to? There is not a single house standing up. Where would he? I think the government should have a project if they want the people to come back, and they're ready to come back, to put up some Karabur houses, as they call them. The people in the forest are used to building with those. But the problem is one now of confidence in the administration.
And talking about the administration, His Eminence, despite the disturbing situation that you're painting in the northwest and southwest regions of the country, the implementation of stringent security measures announced by the President of the Republic in his end of year address to the nation on the 31st of December, which some have qualified now as a declaration of war on the Anglophone,
I think that was
continues on the ground.
I'm sorry to say the President exaggerated the presence of the army in the English-speaking part of the country. It's no solution.
And that continues, however, despite...
Well, if it continues, we will never get a solution to the problem. With a human being, you reason. You do not use violence as if you are, treating a beast. You reason. That's why the world, I can say the world, is calling for dialogue. It's not violence.
And His Eminence, when you see the situation, like you observed while you were in the northwest and during your transit through the southwest region, while coming back to Douala,
not once, twice, but many times.
When you look at the situation worsening on the ground, and the President of the Republic tells Cameroonians that the situation is stabilizing.
No, it is not. He is not well informed. No, the President is not well informed. I think some people hide the truth from him. It's a pity, I have to say that. I don't think the President knows the reality of what is happening in the southwest and in the northwest of the country. It's dramatic.
But there are reports...
Schools are not going on.
There are reports on television, radio, newspapers, every day on the situation.
I wonder how many go on the official papers like the CRTV and go to the spot. If you don't know, people in Kumbu did not know what was happening in Beam. When I told them I was in Beam, they said, what did you go to do in Beam? I said, I went to witness myself for myself what the army has done in Beam. They don't know. The truth is not publicized.
And there are also reports of looting going on.
Looting by the army, I'm sorry to say it. The looting is by the army. And I think also the killing of some military men gives me the impression that they are not well trained militarily. I cannot understand how a well-trained young military man, how a young man in the village who is not trained can seize a gun from his hand and use it against him.
And many of those who were killed are the young ones who just came out of school some few months ago.
Yeah, they are not well trained. They haven't the experience of, the tactics required. Either in the approach of the population. Now the population is the enemy of the army. I can say that.
And the deployment of young soldiers on the ground who just came out of school.
Why the young are not the experienced? Why the young? And we are told that this is by hearsay, told that, that some high-ranking military people use the occasion to enrich themselves because the government is spending. The government is spending for these operations.
Enriching themselves? How? His Eminence?
Well, those who are on the front eat little, and what they receive, most of it remains in their pockets. So I'm told.
All right. His Eminence...
Take, for example, let's take the case of Bakassi. Well, I read somewhere that at one time we were talking about 20 Cameroonians who were killed by invading Nigerian army. But somebody with a military experience is bringing out a book. If he has not brought it out, I read the rough copy of it, says that the killing of the 20 Cameroonians in Bakassi was by the Cameroonian army and not by the Nigerian army. Because the president, the two presidents, President Obasanjo of Nigeria and Paul Biya and the Secretary General of the United Nations, were about settling the problem politically. But the army wanted still to prove that the problem is it cannot be settled now. It is still going on. So they organized a killing of Cameroonians by Cameroonians, because I learned they were giving them about 400 million every month or every year, I don't know. Because the state spends on this military operation, and the account of how the money is spent is not given. It's not given. I hear the top people do not render account of how the money they were given for this or that operation was spent.
So are you blaming the worsening situation on poor management by the government?
Of course, that is
the
obvious.
President of the Republic, for example, has not been to the Northwest or Southwest since he started.
That's obvious. The people who should take this are not going to the front to see what's happening. The reality of the situation.
Are you advising President Paul Biya to go to the Northwest and the Southwest?
Of course. If I were him, I would go to the front to see for myself, to talk to the people. And the people themselves have been calling for it. Take, for example, the refugees in Nigeria. I was in Nigeria during that period, to the interior of Ebola and Nowhere. I didn't go to where our refugees are found, but I was told that on the 31st of December, when the president gave his national, political speech, some refugees trekked for 1 hour to a point where they could listen to the president's speech. And they were sorry that even in that he did make mention of them. And those were his supporters, CRTV, CPDM. Members of the CPDM party, women, they trekked for 1 hour to go to a point in Nigeria where they could get clearly the speech of their president. And they were so deceived, they were so disappointed that the president did not make mention of them who are refugees.